I'm Lance Phillips, very much in a hangover mode from a CCAA volleyball bronze win, and I come back and I get to see the dew on this guy.
I'm Chris King. It's tight and high. Yes, the haircut's gone. And I saw the most amazing sporting event ever this weekend. We'll talk about that later. High and tight, Lance. That's how I like to do it.
High and tight, eh?
Yep.
It's high and tight, and it's military grade.
Yeah.
I like it.
I'm ready to march.
It looks good.
Yeah, I'll cut it next year at the same time.
Yeah.
Throw it out for a year.
You're like a woman. They cut their hair. Most women cut their hair like once every 6 months, so I understand.
I have no idea.
Women with long hair apparently do that.
Hey,
Lance Phillips, Chris King with you for the Gloves Are Off. We have got a bunch of stuff that we're going to hit on. We've got a fun segment coming up. We're going to do our March Madness bracket together. We want to see some people's brackets as well.
Could be better than ours. Could be worse.
Probably will be better. I don't know much about all 64 teams. And by not knowing much, I mean I know zero about most of these teams.
So that's the fun. No one really does.
No. I feel like pro analysts don't really know much about all these teams.
Yeah, so we'll put them to shame, obviously.
We also have Josh Ryan, who's going to join us late in the show to break down probably one of the finest futsal plays you've ever seen.
It was something else. We hosted the futsal this weekend. Amazing game. Amazing finish to a conference championship that you guys are going to love.
Yeah, and there was another amazing finish that happened on the weekend as well. It comes from the Rustlers women's volleyball team at the CCAA National Championships. Came out with bronze. Definitely a team that may have been favored to win going into it, but they lost to VIU in the gold semifinal. Finished by beating Les Irlandes de Garneau, pardon me, my French is not hot, 3-0, and then beat up on the Humber Hawks 3-0 in the bronze final, win bronze. But is bronze a disappointment, Kinger? I
don't think bronze is a disappointment. Anytime that you go to a national championship, that's a win for me. I think Austin, like every team in the ACAC or CCAA, they want to win a national championship. That's their goal. They came up one game short. That's nothing to be ashamed of. We're very proud of them. What was your thoughts, Lance, being there and seeing that action?
Well, we're gonna get to some late in the show at the very end. We're gonna get to what's got you fired up, and I'm gonna tell you right now that part of what happened in this tournament's got me fired up. But really inspiring being there. Really loved to see what I saw from the Rustlers women. Bronze is absolutely not a disappointment. This team wanted to win gold, but bear in mind, this is one of the smaller teams that was out there playing. And what they do with the smaller bodies they have is really incredible. It's a well-coached team, a well-put-together team, a team that is a cohesive unit. I really liked what I saw. I don't know if they played their best volleyball if they'll beat VIU. VIU was big. They ended up winning the gold. They were a huge team. But bronze is not disappointing at all. I think it's a huge accomplishment for a school that has roughly 1,200 people, full-time students. And I said this before.
Yes, yeah.
Humber has roughly 30,000. I'm pretty sure it's the biggest college in Canada. And as Austin Dyer put it, the little farm school from Alberta beat them.
Yeah, it's definitely not an even playing field when you look at Humber to us. I think what those girls have done is impressive, and it's huge for the ACAC.
And that's putting it lightly impressive.
And you look back, now they have a silver, they have a gold, they have a bronze. Over the last decade here, our women's volleyball program has been one of the strongest in the conference.
And it's going to be strong again next season.
And they earned a second berth for themselves next year, getting that bronze medal. So now the ACAC will have two berths next year, and it won't be a host that has a sub-500 record. It'll be the number 1 and number 2 teams, which will both have a chance to medal.
I really like what they did, and they were down. I mean, that was a locker room after the VIU that was devastated, after the VIU match that was devastated, and they did not get down after that. They came back and played at 10 o'clock in the morning after finishing at 8 at night and won and played well. And then in the bronze final, I think that's as good as I've ever seen them play. 5 hitting errors and 47 kills.
They were sharp in that game. They were really
sharp as attack. Yeah, really well done.
Sticking with the Lakeland Rustlers, we hosted the Futsal Championships this weekend at the Service Sports Center and at Lakeland College. Lance, this sport is growing in popularity. Do you think that we could see this overtake soccer as the main sport in ACAC, maybe CCAA?
I definitely see this being a possibility. I mean, soccer's played with 11 players. Futsal has played with 4 on the court at one time. It's climate controlled. You're indoors. You don't have to deal with rain. You don't have to deal with anything. I definitely see it. And from what I understand, obviously I wasn't there, but from what I understand, it was exciting. It was exciting to watch. It was exciting to be a part of. And as we mentioned in the final, when we get to it, very exciting play to finish it off.
Yeah, we go to a shootout in the final, which is what everyone wants in outdoor, but in indoor, only 3 shooters. So if they would have like made their shots or missed and ended tied, then we got to go back to the beginning again. And they're shooting from about me to you away. It felt like
it feels like it anyway.
It says 6 meters, but it looks like 6 feet.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
It's unbelievable. And the cool thing about it for me, and I'm not a soccer guy, seeing those guys, you take the 11 players and you have the top 4 on there, it is very talented. And this is a sport that now it's taking over all of Saskatchewan. So Saskatchewan's switching from indoor soccer to futsal now, and Alberta's starting to take that reign as well. Now Canada futsal is growing as well. Yeah,
and bear in mind that, I mean, as a person who grew up in Ontario, soccer wasn't big when I was growing up. And futsal, I didn't even know what futsal was till I got out here, and until I found out what it was. And it's I believe it's a more exciting sport to watch than soccer. You know, there's more action in it that happens more frequently as opposed to soccer. It feels like it's more offensive.
Oh, way more offensive. Yeah,
which is really important to anybody who watches sports.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the NHL's been trying to do for years, is make the game more offensive minded. And this is what futsal does. I definitely see that. Well, we're seeing it already. It's expanding. It's expanded from 4 teams to this year it had 8. Next year it's expanding again to 10. Yep. We're going to see this come more and more and more, and it's only going to get better.
And in terms of the fans' sake, you're right there. 4-on-4 screaming. The passion's the same as soccer, and soccer fans, as you know, are passionate, and you're right on the field level. It's very exciting to watch for a fan because you can actually banter a little bit with the players.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's a great game, and a game that, like I said, I didn't know anything about, and have slowly learned about it. I think, wow, this is something to get excited about for sure, and having more teams never hurts.
Yeah,
Tiger Woods is back in the news after finishing second at the Valspar Championship, tied for second actually. Kinger, does this raise the expectations on Tiger Woods going forward for the rest of his season?
Yeah, I'm fired up on it. Everyone's fired up about it. Missed a putt to go into a playoff round, playoff hole, and he was pretty consistent with his drives, pretty consistent with his irons. His putting wasn't fantastic, but we haven't seen this Tiger in 5, 6, 7 years. If he's good, the PGA is good, the popularity grows, and now he's a 12-1 favorite next week at the Arnold Palmer Classic. All of the PGA's excited about this.
I had one of my buddies, his name's Greg Zedek. He's a true Canadian supporter of everything. And when there was a Canadian leading at Valspar, he said, I just want this Canadian to lose because I want Tiger Woods to win. And it's true. I mean, we've talked about Tiger Woods moving the needle in the past, and he does. And I think any golf purist would tell you that they really would like to see Tiger Woods back in the winner's spotlight.
Yeah, and he takes over instantly. All the talk on the sports radio shows, TV shows is Tiger, Tiger, Tiger.
Again,
Masters,
the needle
Tiger. Where's he going to be?
People want to see this guy win.
Yeah, and he's been out for so long. I think some of the casual fans forget just how dominant he was. He was so he couldn't be touched.
We touched on this. There's a whole base of fans that never saw him be dominant.
Yeah.
There's fans that will have never seen a lot of the things he did.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable.
It's unfortunate because it was like he was playing a video game. And this weekend, you started to see that creep back in. I think his season, now he's going to have the confidence. If his body holds up, that's going to be the biggest thing, to continue to be good every single outing. And hopefully we see top 10, top 10, top 10.
I think it's impressive what he did. And he's come back from the grave. You could make the point the grave is where he's come back from, because his health has been declining, his back has been a problem, his knees have been every body part for this guy has been an issue. And to do that not only maybe breeds some more confidence in him, but it breeds more confidence in his followers, which is huge. You know, when you have a gallery out there of people watching and they're more confident in you as a player, that can only help you. So hopefully more good things are ahead for Tiger Woods.
We hope so. Some not good things for Odell Beckham this last weekend. He got caught doing what may or may not have been an illegal substance while in a hotel room.
Cocaine.
While in a hotel room eating pizza. Lance, what should the Giants do about this video that got leaked, obviously?
Yeah, this is a weird one, because he actually isn't doing the weird white substance on the table with the credit card.
He's just eating za.
He is eating za.
Yeah.
And he's messing around and hanging out, right?
Yes, messing
around. He's messing around, he's hanging out. Yeah. I don't know what you do here. I mean, my gut reaction immediately was to be like, okay, this guy's got to be disciplined. But if there's no, and it's come out that his French friend was saying, his French model friend was saying that he was not in fact doing any of the substance that was on the table, that we believe to be cocaine.
Yeah, there was a lot of lines of sugar on that table if it wasn't cocaine. probably more lines than
I've
one person
never
could
seen
do.
anyone cut up sugar with a credit card, but I guess it happens if you're a baking enthusiast. That's possible. Listen, I don't know what you do here. The answer is I don't know. I'm not sure. How can you discipline a guy if he didn't do something?
Yeah, I
if
think
you didn't actually see him doing something, how do you discipline him?
Well, and that's the thing. Thank God she didn't leak any other videos. But the first phone call was from the Giants to her. So her story now is it was just me doing it. We were just hanging out.
I know.
I find it highly unlikely that two people were in a room.
Listen, she's already stuck because she's the one doing this.
Yeah.
You know, she's the one doing this. So she's already, her hand's already caught in the bag, if you will. So, you know, if she's already like, okay, I'm caught red-handed, white-handed, whatever, then
well played.
Then you have to, then you as her would be like, okay, he wasn't doing it. I'm not going to let him get in trouble. He wasn't doing it.
Well, it's more odd that she's selfieing it at the same time, and he's just kind of in and out of the shot. So I don't know. He could have been laying there, but
it comes over to the table, and you see the credit card, and it's lightning fast, and it's gone.
Two things: he should be fined or suspended. Fined for sure.
Just because he's in the room.
Well, I think it's guilt by association, right? I think that's what it is. The other thing is the Giants need to have a talk with him and say, you need to be more careful about your business
and who you hang out with.
Yes, that's what needs to happen.
But are you suspending him if you're the Giants?
Just fine. I don't know. What is it, like $500,000? What do they fine?
I don't know what they fine him, but I mean, whatever it's going to be just like a hit in the pocket. It's not going to be anything too substantial.
Doesn't care. He doesn't care.
You know who does care?
Who?
But what's going on lately?
Who?
Marcus Stroman cares. Marcus Stroman is out as the Blue Jays opening day starter with right shoulder inflammation. He didn't like it very much. So now the Jays need to find a new starter to replace him. Who's going to be, Kinger?
It's probably going to be Aaron Sanchez.
It has to be Aaron Sanchez. What do you mean it's probably going to be? It has to be.
Estrada's done a lot for the team the last little while. I would think about throwing Estrada out there. Sanchez worries me. Boris Klein, the blister last year. I think he's going to throw like 100 innings this year.
Here's the other thing. Does it really matter?
No.
Does it really matter who starts?
No.
You could throw
Jamie
Ezekiel
Garcia.
Carrera, who they just got rid of.
He's a Brave now. He's a Brave.
But I'm saying you could put anybody in there. You throw Curtis Granderson in there. It doesn't matter who they start on opening day.
No, but what does matter, if Stroman's out long term, there's not a lot of depth there. Like the pitching depth for the Jays is 5 guys, maybe a 6th with Biagini. And
Biagini has not been hot.
No.
Well, he's been hot garbage.
Yeah, he's suited for the pen, long relief or mop roll. So now they're going to go start Sanchez, which is great. And early on in the season, you can kind of roll that around and give extra break to other guys. But the Jays' lack of depth in that area is staggering. If they have one more injury, Happ's like 100 years old, Estrada's like 100 years old, any of those two guys get hurt, now you're in big trouble. And people are predicting them to win 82 games, 80 games. If Stroman's 90. Out, you're not winning 75.
Well, I don't think he's going to be out for long, but I like the idea of Sanchez getting the start here. I mean, if not for that blister issue, which the pictures came out of that, and it is gross, by the way. Like, it is, like almost chuck your lunch gross. If those don't come back, he's realistically that team's ace, not Stroman. He's a better pitcher, I believe,
he's
over the long haul.
Guy. He's a strikeout
guy. Than Marcus Stroman is.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of him starting. You can make a case for any of those guys. Happ, Estrada, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But ultimately, Sanchez has to be the guy.
Sanchez has the ace stuff. Stroman essentially is a ground ball pitcher. If you get them both back, fantastic. But Sanchez will get the ball. Hopefully he's good, and hopefully he lasts all season. That's the goal. Alex Ovechkin scored his 600th NHL goal, which is quite a milestone. Lance, does he get the credit he deserves in the NHL?
I don't believe he does.
I agree with you.
I don't believe he does. I mean, we hear a ton about McDavid and the Oilers who are not going to make the playoffs. We hear a lot about Sidney Crosby, who, granted, I'll give you that. Sidney Crosby is probably the greatest player, but we used to hear a lot about Alex Ovechkin. We don't hear as much about him now, and he has just very quietly gone about his business at the top of the circle, and here we are. He's gotten 600 goals.
Yeah, and the thing with it, I think he suffers from the Don Cherry theory in my mind. Like, Don Cherry always hates the Russians, and I think he gets knocked for being Russian. He gets knocked for being soft. He has 600 goals in 900 games, so that's 0.6 goals per game. He's fifth all-time on that list. The guys that are in front of him played in an era where the goalies fake slap shot, they turn around backwards and they fall down. Like,
it was a stand-up style, baby.
It's just stand-up style. The goaltending was horrific. The only guy in there that was a legit scorer, so there's Mike Bossy ahead of him, Mario Lemieux. Lemieux started to face some goaltending, but you see some of Mario's dekes. he goes this way, the goalie is in the corner, and he's just like putting it in the net open. Like same as Gretzky's goals. Watching those highlights drive me nuts. Ovechkin could be the best pure scorer the NHL's ever seen.
That's an interesting point. The one thing, you mentioned the Don Cherry thing, and this is something that we've seen for years with the Washington Capitals. They've won the President's Trophy in the past, and then they're out after the first round. And you could make the case that it's because their top line were 3 Russians.
Right.
And that has always been the stigma around that team, is that they are soft and that they don't have what it takes to win in the playoffs. And unfortunately for Ovechkin, I feel very strongly that they need to win a Stanley Cup for him to even be considered as one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, which has nothing to do with the fact of whether he's a great goal scorer or not. But in a lot of people's eyes, he doesn't do enough in the playoffs because his team's not around long enough.
It's the what have you done for me lately thing.
For sure it is.
And you're right. He gets knocked with that, and he's got to be better in the playoffs. But that's the GM's fault, too, how you build that team, right? Because if you're suffering playoff loss...
Or is it a coaching problem they've got?
Well, they've had a few coaches there, right?
I mean, they've had some guys that can put the puck in the net.
Yeah.
But they've had...
defensive end, not great.
Fair enough. Albert's on the other side. He's loaded up with stuff. I can't wait to get this futsal segment going.
Oh, it's going to be good. I might not hold it together.
We're back. You can keep your gloves on, but ours are off.
Did I mention we're picking our bracket?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the bracket. A lot of research.
We got that coming up. You started off, sir.
All right, let's get into this.
Bird is the word. Is the word is the bird.
Devin Haru at Devin Haru.
Old Dev Haru.
Breaking history: Canada's Brian McKeever wins gold in the men's 20K visually impaired cross-country event. That's his 11th gold medal and his 14th overall medal, making him the most decorated Paralympian of all time. That is a lot of gold medals. That is unbelievable.
Paralympians do not get the credit they deserve at all.
It's unbelievable what they do and what they go through.
Like some of those people, like with the ski poles on one ski going down the hill, like they're sitting on the chair, like it's incredible. Yeah, like 100 miles an hour.
They train just as hard as anyone else, if not harder, to overcome.
Yeah, they don't get enough credit. I mean, do you watch Paralympics?
I haven't watched any of it.
Neither have I.
I wouldn't even know where to find it. So my fault.
I'm guilty of it. It's just. It's not broadcasted nearly as much as the regular Olympics, but it should be. Okay, this is Jim Van Horn. So this is Jim Van Horn of TSN fame. Everyone would know Jim Van Horn. The mustache.
That's a beauty.
The beauty duster. I've been describing the Paralympics for the past 3 days for CBC and AMI. I've been blown away by these athletes in every event from alpine to hockey to curling to cross country. I can't imagine skiing 7.5 kilometers, sitting in a chair, and using my arms only.
I couldn't do it.
So Jim does, as we call them, JVH, does descriptive content for different networks,
right?
For the visually impaired, basically. And
Male in the beak.
It's the stuff he gets to see is impressive.
It's very cool that he talks about it and how motivating it is to be around those athletes.
Yeah, I can tell you firsthand. I mean, they're not Paralympic athletes, but being at those CCAA championships was motivating.
Yeah, being around greatness gets you fired up. This might not be greatness. Barstool Sports at Barstool Sports. Please, a moment of silence for the 3 tons of Busch Light that spilled out onto a Florida highway.
No, I'm not giving any moments of silence for Busch Light. I'm not giving look at that's why Barstool Sports is so terrible, is because they're drinking Busch Light.
It's technically a beer though. It's still
it's
a
not.
beer.
It's
well,
not.
Barely.
It's not a beer.
It's beer water.
It's not a beer. It's awful.
Yeah, it is weak.
Busch Light is
tinted water.
Busch. It's just that. It's Busch. It's terrible. Okay, Michael Landsberg. This is important. This comes on Thursday. This Thursday, hashtag sick not weak in the Battlefords. Chris Getzlaff, Tessa Bonhomme, Weston Dressler, Beverly Mahood, One Bad Son, and more. It's free. It's free. No one pays, but you need a ticket. Do not wait. Sign up right now. More than half are gone already. So the Sick Not Weak movement, for anyone who doesn't know, which most people do know, is Michael Landsberg's movement about mental health, his mental health initiative. And he's coming to the Battlefords.
That's amazing.
Tomorrow, which is incredible. Yeah. I'm hoping to be there.
I wasn't aware of that until I went through the
You've
tweets.
got mail.
And I'm going to be gone recruiting, but I'm going to try to send some of my kids there just to take that in. It would be fantastic.
Sure. It's Battlefords is an interesting choice as well. Battlefords, I find a very interesting choice. An area that that has struggled with that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's good that he's going there.
It's awesome that you're having a free anything for that type of stuff.
No joke.
Sportsnet stats. At Sportsnet stats, the Blue Jays released Ezekiel Carrera. He posted career highs in games played, 131, hits 81, home runs 8, bases on balls 30, average 282, and OPS 764 last season. Zeke has already been picked up by the Braves.
He's gone. He gone.
He gone. And you know what? I didn't think he was bad. I honestly didn't think he was bad. No, I thought he was okay. Fourth outfielder. He's okay.
You like him better than Granderson as a fourth
Yeah,
outfielder?
I like him better than Granderson any day of the week, personally. But, you know, you don't get me fired up
No,
right
no,
now
no.
in
I
this
just
section.
find it interesting because I'm surprised. I was surprised to see he was released.
Yeah.
I was surprised. Okay, so this is Jamie Benn. Jamie Benn at Jamie Benn 14. 2 minutes for scoring, huh? And he's talking about the goalie interference on Pittsburgh's Brian Dumoulin, which is, so this was when the Pens played the Leafs. It is, goalie interference is absolutely a farce right now. It is ruining the game. It is ruining the game.
It's almost every game there's a call, and someone's upset.
And this Dumoulin one, he's trying to avoid the goalie, and he's being pushed into the crease.
Yeah.
Like, it's totally not goalie interference.
Yeah, that rule has to be re-looked at. And I don't know how you fix it because, well, Cam Talbot was upset about that earlier this year.
I don't think the NHL has any idea how to fix it.
Yeah, you might have to go to just like the Olympic format. Anytime anyone's in the crease, no goal. Just anything, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. They can't figure out how to do it though.
Yeah.
They're in trouble.
The Hockey Hangout, at Hockey Hangout, Rob Ray was nuts.
Yeah, and he was nuts.
This video is unbelievable.
Why wouldn't you want to go after Claude Lemieux though?
Well, especially when he jumps in there. He comes. Oh, that was Scott Stevens that flew in there.
And here's Ray coming up with it. There's Ray without the shirt. Like, he's just a beauty, eh?
Like, he's basically down and out from the linesman.
Yeah, and then he pops Lemieux, bang.
This is a classic move. Push him backwards, one sucker. But he's not done.
If you listen
he's literally holding him up.
Yeah, and if you listen to the commentary on this, like, they're like, if you look at Ray's knuckles, they look like, it looks like hamburger meat. Like, his hands it's all messed up.
Well, he had half of the New Jersey Devils' faces on his knuckles. That was the problem.
Corporal Matthews.
Oh, here we go.
He's back, baby. He's back. Okay,
How
Mother.
did you get that?
I'm disturbed by the state of the Penguins. Normally a proud bird, they now appear scraggly and haggard. Quite frankly, I couldn't look at them without my eyes welling up. The once majestic, I don't even know what that word is. I'm not even repeating it. The once majestic, whatever that word is, aren't fit for even a polar bear to eat, let alone PFC Polak.
I think we should have here in Lloydminster an intimate evening with Lance Phillips reading Corporal Matthews' tweets. I think that'd be good.
Intimate evening.
Let's see if I can get this in here. Yahoo Sports NBA. LeBron got him.
How dirty is that?
First off, you have to be able to palm the ball to throw that pass, but he is just, otherworldly.
Bang this one out real quick. This is Slaven Malamud. We got quick. So here's what's happening in the KHL for those who still can't quite grasp the reality of evil, Russian style. Look we're running out of time. Take a look at this thread and just read it over. It's unbelievable. It's like 30 tweets long. It's absolutely incredible.
It's a good day of reading.
Yeah, and I'm sorry we ran out of time there, but that is worth a read.
If you can't score, you might as well drop the gloves.
Welcome back. I want to quickly hit on this Slaven Malamud tweet again because it's really unbelievable. I blew through it because we were out of time in the last block, but I want to touch on it real quick. So it's like 25 or 30 threads long that and it's unbelievable. It's worth a read. Take 5 minutes of your life. So the first one goes, so here's what's happening in the KHL for those who still can't quite grasp the banality of evil, Russian style. The entire league has set up this year to allow SKA to win. It's Putin's team. This is Putin's election year, and it's chock full of OAR Olympians. And that's how it starts. And he just goes on to talk about how this is working with this team winning. And it's from like the officials calling things against other teams that aren't right, to players, to off there. And near the end, they talk about an offside that's blatantly offside. You can see it. They review it, and they still said it was onside. Like it's incredible, and I urge you to take time. Okay, let's hit on March Madness. It's coming up. It's right on us. We're going to do our brackets here together. So this is a lot of teams we're going to choose here in a very short amount of time.
We're going to have to fire through it.
Let's start on the South.
Yep.
And we're literally, the round of 32 that we pick here, we're just going to blow through it. So we'll put the thing up as we go along here. So Virginia, UMBC, I think this is a no-brainer.
Virginia, #1 seed in the tourney. They're moving on.
Okay, so we got Virginia. You got Creighton or Kansas State.
This could go either way, Lance. Who do you like? Both teams shoot the ball pretty well.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Creighton simply because I like that. I like the name starts with a C, so we'll go with that one. Yeah, I got a good feeling about that name starting with a C.
Okay, and then we got the big-time Kentucky freshman versus Steph Curry's alma mater.
Yeah. This one's pretty easy, I think.
You want Kentucky?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep, I'm good with Kentucky.
Okay.
5-12 is always the biggest upset.
Arizona and Buffalo. Buffalo has no chance. They'll be eating buffalo wings in no time.
Yeah.
Miami and Loyola.
I'm going to go with, let's say, with Miami here.
All right, you got Miami as well.
Loyola is decent, though.
Tennessee and Wright State. I don't even know why Wright State's even in this tournament.
Tennessee, it is. The Vols are moving on.
All right, and we urge you to play along here.
Yeah,
when this is over, we want to see some other
You're going to see our bracket, just only the highest ranked teams. Okay, so Nevada, Texas. I really think Texas is better than the Wolfpack.
I'll go with it on that.
And Shaka Smart, great coach.
Yeah.
They got a couple NBA prospects, so let's take them.
You like Cincinnati or Georgia State?
Georgia State's terrible, so let's stick with Cincinnati. So
all right, let's carry on in the South. So now we're getting down to the Sweet 16 here.
Yep.
You like Virginia or Creighton?
Still Virginia. They're going to hammer them.
There's absolutely no chance that Creighton, even though their name starts with a C, there's no chance. Kentucky, Arizona.
This one's interesting.
It is interesting.
I kind of like Arizona in this game. What's your thoughts?
I've never golfed in Arizona, but I heard it's a beautiful place, so I like Arizona too.
Moving on. You do your bracket exactly like my
yeah,
wife.
No,
it's unbelievable.
That's how I roll.
So
Bear in mind, we don't have any real upsets here in the first bracket.
I know. We'll save that for our last bracket, I think.
Miami, Tennessee.
Once again, that could go either way. You want to go for an upset here or what?
Yeah, let's pick the upset. Let's go Miami, which in this case, it's Miami.
Yeah.
It's Miami. They've spelt it wrong. It's actually Miami.
That might have been a typo.
Last in the 16 portion of the South, we got Texas and Cincinnati.
I think Texas could beat Cincinnati.
So we're picking another upset with Texas. Okay.
Bracket buster.
All right. We're down to the what would be the Elite Eight.
Yep.
So we got Virginia and Arizona.
I think Arizona can beat Virginia. They have the best player in the
Arizona. I'm still going with the upset here. I'm going with Texas.
Okay. So
we got Arizona, Texas.
Okay.
What do you got in the Final Four, Arizona or Texas?
Yeah, I'm going to go. I got to say Zona.
Yeah, it's going to be Arizona. Okay.
They're dropping bags. Okay,
right.
so that's
we're
that
hammering
bracket.
through. If you haven't got this figured out, there's a lot of teams. There's 64. We're trying to reduce it to 4. Okay.
Xavier, auto win.
That's an automatic win for Xavier. Okay, perfect. Missouri or Florida State? That's a tough one. That's a toss-up.
So Missouri might have one of the best players. He's only played 2 games. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt.
He's not experienced. You like it? Okay, we'll go with Missouri.
Yeah.
Ohio State or South Dakota State? I absolutely loathe Ohio State. I'm not picking them. I cannot pick Ohio State to win anything.
Okay, so we're going with the South Dakota Jackrabbits.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Gonzaga or UNC Greensboro. Listen, it's not even fair for UNC.
Gonzaga's going to clean clock there.
Houston, San Diego. We're running out of time.
Houston.
All right, Houston. Okay.
Michigan, Montana. Montana doesn't have a chance.
No, not at all. The 2 Michigans are powerhouses. Let's keep that in mind. Texas A&M and Providence. I actually like Providence here.
I'm with you on that one.
Okay. North Carolina and Lipscomb. Listen.
I don't even know where Lipscomb is.
I don't even know what Lipscomb is, but Lipscomb can go home now. Don't even play in the game.
Okay, so let's get back to the top here. Xavier.
Xavier or Missouri? Xavier.
Moving on.
South Dakota State and Gonzaga. Gonzaga.
Moving on.
Houston and Michigan.
Oh, that's decent, actually. Let's go Houston there.
Oh.
Or you like Michigan?
I like Michigan.
Okay, we'll stay with Michigan.
We don't want to be wrong. Providence or North Carolina?
Unfortunately.
This is all the big dogs here.
Yeah.
Okay, Xavier or Gonzaga?
Let's go Xavier. They're pretty good.
Okay. Michigan or North Carolina? This is tough.
Yeah, that's an interesting game.
I'm going to go Michigan. I like Michigan.
Well, you're on the bandwagon.
With them. Xavier or Michigan?
Xavier.
All right. Xavier.
1 seed in the Final Four.
Holy cow, we're running out.
Can we get through? Okay, let's go right from the top.
Let's go to East.
Nova.
Villanova. They're in. Nova's in. Virginia Tech or Alabama?
Bama.
Bama. They're in. I hate that call. Virginia or Murray State?
That's your call.
Virginia.
We'll
Wichita State or Marshall?
Wichita.
I love Marshall.
Oh,
I'm a big Marshall guy. Big Marshall guy.
Okay, it's not football, though.
It's not even fair for the rest. So Florida's in. Texas Tech is in. Stephen F. Austin. Sounds like a high school in Lloydminster. Arkansas or Butler?
Let's go Butler.
I never had one, so I would love to see one win. Purdue or CS Fullerton? That's easy. That's
Purdue.
All right.
Nova, moving on.
Okay, what do we got?
Nova
Nova's
versus
on.
Bama.
Nova's on. Marshall's going to pull the upset again.
Oh my goodness, Marshall is hot.
Yeah, Marshall's hot.
Florida, Texas Tech, who you like?
I got Florida.
Gators.
Butler or Purdue?
Purdue's good. Purdue's moving on.
All right. Final four. Elite Eight, sorry.
Yep.
Nova's on?
Nova's moving on, yeah.
All right. I wanted Marshall to keep this going, but I don't think
they're
they can.
not doing it. I hate to break it.
And I got Florida as well.
Okay.
All right.
And then we got one more.
Kansas or Penn? This isn't Penn State, so Kansas goes on.
Hold on, we gotta get one more.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Florida
Sorry.
or Villanova, who's moving on to the
Nova.
Final Four?
That's Nova.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Go to your Penn boys.
We haven't been. I've got Kansas, and I got Seton Hall moving on.
Okay.
Okay. Got Clemson.
Yes.
Got Auburn. There is going to be an upset here, and it's coming up.
Who you got?
TCU's moving on as well. Michigan State is going to clean Bucknell's clock. Here's the upset: Oklahoma over Rhode Island.
Ooh, Trey Young.
All right, and Duke is going to beat up on Iona. Okay. Guys, we may have to extend this just a tiny bit. We need a little bit more time here, I think. Okay,
We
Duke
gotta
is
be
moving
getting
on as well. Michigan State, you like them over TCU?
Yep. I do. Michigan State's really
You like
good.
Clemson
team.
or Auburn?
I like Clemson.
I like Clemson too. Kansas is clearly going to mop up on Seton Hall. All right, who you got in the Elite Eight?
I'm gonna say Kansas versus Duke.
Kansas and you like Duke over
Yeah,
Michigan
well,
State?
either one of those teams can win. Who do you like there?
I like State.
Okay, let's go with State.
Okay, so we've got Kansas, Michigan State. I like State. I really do.
Okay, I'm with you. So that it gives us down to our Final Four here.
All right.
We got Nova versus Michigan State. Who wins that?
I got State again.
Okay, Michigan State in
You
the
get
final.
to pick the next one.
Okay,
So we got Arizona and Xavier.
I'm going Arizona.
Zona.
Boom.
All right, so we're moving on here. Where are
Yeah, we got Zona versus Michigan State for national championship. Who do you got? Is it Tom Izzo's year?
we? I got State. I got
Michigan
State winning
State.
it all.
There you go. Now you have it. Michigan State, our national champions. That's a bracket.
That's
how
the
it's done.
bracket. We literally blew through that. We apologize.
Hey, compare yours to ours. See what happens.
Yeah, it'll be up on our Twitter feed certainly in no time.
Whew, I got dizzy from that. That was fast.
If you can't score, you might as well drop the gloves.
All right, welcome back. We've got some fun on tap.
Yeah.
Listen, we hammered through that segment
Yes.
of bracket, and that was a little more than we bargained for.
Yeah, it was a blur.
that was a new. We tried that one out.
Lesson learned. Lesson learned.
For sure. Listen, this is going to be a lot of fun. So for those who didn't attend the Futsal Championships, the ACAC Futsal Championships,
I did.
shame on you.
I did.
You were there.
I did.
Yeah.
I was there.
It was great, and it was made even better by the final play of the gold medal game between Keanu and Medicine Hat.
The most fantastic thing I've ever seen in my life.
Right. So we've brought Josh Ryan on because he is here to break down what happened
Yes.
during that fantastic moment.
And he was there live.
He was there live. He was calling it live, actually,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he was.
Josh, welcome aboard.
Well, thank you for having me, gentlemen. I'm still recovering myself from that last March Madness bracket. That's a lot of information for 10 minutes. That's a
listen.
lot of information.
Now, listen, when it came down to this final play, what did you see? What did you see from your own eyeballs?
Well, my own eyeballs saw maybe the greatest play in the history of collegiate sports, to be honest. Certainly the greatest ending to a college championship of any sort. And do you mind if I dive in right away?
No, please do.
All right, so to set the stage, everyone, we are in penalties, a shootout for those not initiated. And this upcoming shot here is from the Keanu Huskies. They have a chance now, as I'm going to move out of your way, to end the game here and win. And they played with only 4 players the entire final, no subs. So we're going to press play here,
And the ball
guys.
looks like it's 6 feet away.
Yeah, essentially it's a gimme. All these penalty shots are gimmies, but not for him apparently. That's Eduardo Filho who missed that shot. Now, as he's scrolling off, you can see another gentleman coming in. Now, this guy here, up with my thumb, that is Cruz Coronel. Now, Cruz is not a keeper. He lost out on a bet that basically forced him to play keeper over the course of the weekend, and now here he is with the chance to win it for his home team. So let's see how he does.
Oh, that's a save.
If you that's exactly what you thought it was. Cruz losing the ability to bear children for all future time. Now we're going to transition here into a better angle of this video. Again, you're going to see a couple of areas where Cruz went wrong on this play. And it happens
I believe we have some sound here too.
Mainly because he's a keeper. So we'll let the sound play for this first angle.
Now shoot number 8, Daniel Ribeiro.
That's Daniel Ribeiro shooting for Olds. And so now as we slow it down, the first problem here, no cup. That's very important for keepers of any sport, wearing a cup. Just whether or not you need to protect what's down there.
Is this pre-ritual, this dance that's happening right now? Like,
that's actually very typical. He's a little bit more animated than most keepers, but that's very typical of keepers as a way of trying to get in the shooter's head.
And that's a nut shot.
Yes, that is.
That's
you could not have more perfectly landed in the breadbasket than that shot did in that situation. You can see the second problem there is moving to the splits before the ball even came, which is, again, a no-no, just exposing what's least likely to be, we want to be exposed, rather.
So he's down on the court. From
yes,
what we understand, he's down on the court.
Down and out.
And the game's over.
Oh, the game is very much over. That was championship point right there.
So Keanu has won gold.
Yes.
And what happens afterwards?
Well, selfishness mostly from the other Keanu teammates, but let's roll the clip. As you can see here, he's down and out, again, not able to bear children in the future, and the entire team is out in the middle of the court celebrating by themselves. Finally, Eduardo Filho, who missed that.
So can we pause it there for
yes.
1 sec?
Go ahead.
Can we pause it there for 1 sec?
Yeah.
That table to your shoulder, when I first saw that, I actually thought it was a stretcher. I thought they were bringing
They
it as a
should
stretcher.
have used it as a stretcher. I mean, he was out for about 5 minutes.
Right, okay, sorry.
It's a great observation by you. It should have actually been what they were using it for. So we're going to play it again. Now you can start to see people make their way over. I'm going to step out of screen here. They're finally consoling him. Obviously a few ladies around that's going to make him feel a little bit better. And you can see the Olds devastated that they're the first team to ever lose a championship by an opponent getting from a nut shot, essentially.
So what are they doing here now?
Now, right now, I think they're trying to stretch him out a little bit, which is not a great idea with the groin injury. It's actually really not a good idea.
That doesn't look good for anybody.
It's a nice gesture from the guy who lost there to come and say high fives. Again, I'm not sure how that's actually supposed to stretch the groin either, but now he's trying to just get things a little bit loose, which
like
actually amplifies the pain for anyone who's been hit in the nuts before. It amplifies the pain.
It looks like more of a groin, like a hamstring stretch.
I'll tell you what,
he's
Josh,
up.
they don't have
so now
that
he's
in the
up,
coaching handbook.
still struggling, as you can see. That's the assistant coach, Angel Olsen, is the assistant coach helping him out. Murad Sukru, the
He's not
head
walking
coach.
well.
No, he's definitely not.
In fact, he looks like Igor.
Yeah, and honestly, he looks like one of those Who's Line participants when they're just the loose limbs, and they essentially have to be moved around by Colin Mockery. That's essentially what he did for the next 30 or so seconds.
So there is an awards portion to this.
Yes. So of course, silver medals to be handed out to Olds, gold medals to be handed out to the Huskies. And let's roll the clip now. As you can see here, I'm going to stand here by the Olds Broncos. So there's the head coach. They're just making their way across the line.
He
Still
does
struggling.
not look good.
Still struggling. No. Definitely hasn't sunk in yet that he's won a
Josh,
championship.
This is the All Tournament Awards, right? Is it happening right now? Is this what's happening?
Yes. Well, there's all tournaments. Also, Player of the Game, I believe, is handed out as well.
And an MVP.
Yes. And,
so he's down. He's barely standing up now.
Barely standing up. I mean, he's standing up on his own 2 legs at least. He's not just a limp body anymore. But Daniel Ribeiro, the guy who lost the game on that shot. And there you see.
Is this him?
This is him, player of the game, Cruz Cornell. A miraculous recovery from being unable to
incredible.
use his limbs. Miraculous recovery, and all of a sudden he has enough energy to do 4 jumping jacks in a row.
He all of a sudden came back to life.
Josh, I got to tell you, that
Yes.
breakdown is one of the more impressive breakdowns I've seen.
Oh, well, thank you.
Championship goal. Listen, in your vast experience with ACAC sports, where does that land in the world of the greatest moments?
It is not only the greatest moment in the history of the ACAC, this is the single greatest championship moment in the history of sports. We have never seen someone win a championship getting hit in the nuts before. It's just never happened.
And futsal balls are much different than the soccer ball, right? Like, because the soccer ball has more bounce. The futsal is similar to a rock, if I'm not mistaken.
It's like a rocket. That thing is going like 70
It's a little
miles.
smaller of a ball, too, so it more perfectly fits into the crotch as it hits the crotch.
Right. So
Yes.
greater impact, more
Oh,
forceful.
absolutely.
Do you
And
think
just more on point.
What do you think the reason was for not wearing the cup?
Inexperience would be my most likely guess. Perhaps a bit of ego. But he seemed like a pretty good guy. I think I'm going to chalk this one up to inexperience. As I said before, he essentially drew straws and got stuck with the long straw of having to play keeper over the course of the weekend and ended up winning tournament MVP. So in that sense, it worked out for him. His chances of being a father later on might be a little more difficult.
He was very happy to win his MVP, Josh.
Oh, yes.
And I think that him winning the championship and MVP might have done some healing to the lower body injury that happened. I laughed at first when I saw that, and then I was like, oh no.
Josh, once again, thanks very much. I mean, that is
Oh, well, you're
excellent, excellent work. Excellent
Yes.
work.
It was a pleasure. Pleasure's all mine, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
Great work by Josh Ryan. Honestly, how would that feel?
Sorry, I couldn't talk that segment.
We're back, and the gloves are still off.
The best thing about this show is it's fully unscripted, and
Yes.
literally a lot of the times it's off the cuff. That idea we came up with today.
And
We came up with that today, and we thought, let's try and make this work. And it actually is. I thought it was pretty funny.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say possibly the best segment ever done on the show.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I mean, the Crokinole is pretty good.
Yeah, that's up there. It's top
That's
five
better
for
than
sure.
the Crokinole, though. It paves the way. It's a what do they call that?
Stepping stone right
Yeah,
there for
yeah,
us.
just totally launch pad to new and great things on the gloves. We literally thought of that today. Okay, listen, we're gonna do what's got you fired up. Now we changed this because we were like originally what's bugging you, but we didn't want to. It didn't always want to be things that were bugging us.
Right, yep.
So today something's got me fired up, but it's
Good.
not on a negative side. It's very much on the positive, Kinger.
Okay.
And today I want to talk about my experience at the CCAA National Volleyball Championships. Recently as in last week. I had the chance to go to cover this event for New Cap Television. And unfortunately, because New Cap Television does not have weekend news, I was not able to bring the
Right.
championship games or the bronze games or anything like that during the weekend. So of course, people who watched New Cap News just saw the report from the bronze medal game. But this experience is incredible, and I've always been a fan of collegiate athletics. Always have been. My father was a professor at college. He ran on Ontario College's hockey team, started it and ran it for, I believe, about 10 years. So I've always been around college athletics. And I love everything about it. I love the fact that these kids are putting everything they've got into it. They're not paid to do this. In fact, they are the ones, for the most part, paying. A lot of them pay to go to school. Some don't. Some come on scholarships. But the CCAA level is really incredible. It's the best of the best. And you get to see incredible players doing incredible things. And to be part of that was a real privilege for me. And not everyone gets the opportunity to go and cover that kind of stuff at a national level. And just being around the Rustlers women's volleyball team, around the coaches, and just being what I felt like I was an integral part of what was going on there from a video aspect was amazing. And I owe the school and New Cap Television quite a bit of thanks for having the opportunity to go and be a part of that. I loved every second of it. Sometimes it was stressful trying to get stuff in on time, but it was really a privilege for me to be there. And as much as I've had people say that they love the work, I loved being there every bit as much. And I said this in a tweet that I hope that my love of being there and doing it really shows in the work that comes out, because it is excellent and underrated. And for most people who haven't watched college athletics, do it more, because it's incredible. I went on a bit long there. But
No, hey, and just to touch on that, I think it's key that people see that behind the scenes stuff and what the athletes go through, what the teams go through, and for you to share that experience with Coach Dyer, something that every school aspires to do is a unique situation. So to be able to tell that story through New Cap and Lakeland is special.
yeah,
for us.
really incredible, and something that I will not soon forget, that's for sure.
That's awesome. Maybe you can cover a couple more in the future here.
See what we can do.
I'm going to talk about a little bit of college, the NBA one and done rule. The change is coming to the NBA, and it's got to be immediately. Steve Kerr talked about this last week. Right now, the rule is for high school players, once they're done high school, they need to go to college for a year or be out of school for a year before they can enter the NBA draft. The problem with that is these kids are now going to school, and they want nothing to do with school, so they're not going to class, they're not getting great grades. All they're worried about is where they're going to be picked in the NBA draft. Unfortunately, a lot of these guys aren't picked in the NBA draft, and they either fail out of school or transfer. They have nowhere to go. The suggestions are plenty. There's talk about going the football route, where you have to go to school for 3 years. There's talk about going back to the old NBA route when Kobe Bryant and Kevin Garnett were drafted, where you could come straight out of high school and be drafted into the NBA. Steve Kerr's suggestion is if you enter the NBA draft and you don't get selected, you can go back to school. And I think that's probably the best selection. Ultimately, it's these kids that are getting abused. They're going to school, they're making the schools millions of dollars, and then they're leaving without their education, or else they can't pursue the money they want to pursue right off the bat. And I think that's really got me fired up to see these kids lost in the wash of big money athletics and big money NBA, and the kids are kind of getting lost. So hopefully some firm rules come down on the one and done rule in the future.
Yeah, I always find it interesting because we see a lot of people, a lot of athletes who are done in their careers and don't have any educational background, and it shows. They lose all their money. It happens all the time. I mean, Allen Iverson's a great example of that.
Yep.
And so the academic portion is massive. It's huge. They should just abolish the whole rule, as far as I can
Well,
see.
yeah, if they're going to be there, they should stay there. And when I grew up, when you watched NCAA athletics, the guys were there for 4 years. So you saw them get better and better and better. And now, because it's so much about money, those kids now just want to make their millions of dollars as an 18-year-old. And some of them are good enough, but a lot of them aren't good enough. Right. And a lot of them aren't going to turn pro. 1% of all those college athletes in the NCAA turn pro. 1%. That's it.
So, but still, I mean, the education's huge because it teaches you
your life skills,
yeah, for
money
sure it does.
management.
Like, I can't put enough on it. I mean, the one thing I like about the CJHL, the hockey league, and the AJHL and those types of things, as opposed to the WHL, is that these kids have an opportunity to go south or even stay in Canada and play hockey for schools on a scholarship.
Yeah.
So they get the education while they're playing hockey. I mean, that's what's great about those types of leagues. And you know, if they're going to go to the NCAA, they should be staying there for the full term.
Yeah, and that's why we're seeing so many scandals and stuff, because the kids don't want to do their schoolwork. The school athletics wants to keep them eligible, which is wrong. They need to do the work while they're there, right? Take some responsibility, and that's why those guys fail in the future. Going back to that WHL, the WHL does pay for a year of school per year played if you go to school in Canada.
Right.
Right. You can't play NCAA, so you could play university hockey, which is really good hockey still, and get your school paid for. So it's something that needs to change across the board, and we're seeing that shift to that pro sport mentality at a younger age, where kids aren't valuing the educational piece. And you saw it this weekend. The educational piece is huge. Those kids that stay for long term are set up for life better because they have all the skills they need.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you in 7 days.